So today we're doing a deep dive into a toolkit that honestly, it changes how you see the world. We're talking about discourse analysis.
Hmm.
We tend to think language is just for, saying things, describing what's around us.
Right.
But the sources we're looking at today show it's much, much more than that. Language is about doing things.
That's the absolute core of it, yeah. Language is how we build our identities, how we create institutions, negotiate our relationships. It's how we construct our social reality.
And if you want to understand how power works, you have to look at the words.
You really do.
So our mission today is to explore How to Do Discourse Analysis, a toolkit by James Paul Gee. We're using the new 2025 third edition.
And G gives us 26 tools.
Right, 26. We're not going through all of them, but we're going to zero in on the ones that give you those immediate aha moments. The
Yeah.
ones that just click and change how you hear a conversation or, I don't know, read a news headline.
And the goal here isn't just to list them off. It's to give you, the listener, a new set of questions. Critical questions about why a speaker or a writer made certain choices.
Moving beyond just understanding what's said.
Exactly. We want to get to the why.
Yeah.
To uncover the assumptions and the ideologies that are hidden just beneath the surface of everyday talk.
Okay, let's unpack this. The biggest challenge right at the start is just the sheer amount of stuff we all take for granted when we communicate.
Precisely. Communication only worked because we assume we share this huge body of knowledge of cultural context.
Take that away and the words just fall apart.
They become misleading or totally meaningless.
The sources have this really powerful example. An anthropologist, Margot, is in a Mayan community, and a young man just says to her, "Go over there, he's drinking."
Seems simple enough.
Totally.
Yeah.
But what does it mean?
Well, to an outsider, you'd assume the person is drinking a beverage, maybe something alcoholic.
Yeah. But in that specific Mayan culture, the language around meals is different. The word for their midday meal is literally eating.
And the word for the evening meal is drinking.
So what he was actually saying was, he has finished his evening meal.
And it goes even deeper. The phrase over there only makes sense if you know the physical layout of the family compound, who sits where. The whole social structure is baked into that one little phrase.
It's incredible. The entire evening ritual is embedded in that one word choice, drinking.
Yeah.
So how do you even begin to analyze something that's so normal to the people inside that culture?
That's where you need tool 1, the making strange tool.
Making strange.
Yeah. You have to take what seems completely normal, completely obvious, and look at it like you're an alien who's never seen it before.
I think this is the one you can use immediately.
Yeah.
We're all in this kind of linguistic autopilot all day,
Mm-hmm.
like at work, right? We use acronyms that mean nothing to anyone outside our team. To us, it's just efficient. It's normal.
But if you make it strange, you're forced to ask, why this shorthand? Who are we including with this language and who are we shutting out? G has this great example of a librarian reflecting on the Dewey Decimal System. She's used it her whole life. It's just how books are organized.
It just is.
Until she makes it strange. Then she realizes, wait, this is just one way to categorize all of human knowledge, and it's probably, deeply biased by a Western point of view.
So if language always has these gaps that we're supposed to fill in with our cultural knowledge.
Then you need the next tool.
Ugh.
It's tool 3, the fill-in tool.
Okay.
The idea is that communication is an active process. The listener has to constantly fill in the unstated bits, the inferences, the assumptions. This tool makes us stop and ask, what am I being asked to assume here?
Can you give us a quick example?
Sure, think about corporate speak. A company says it's starting a right-sizing initiative.
Right. Sounds positive, making things the right size.
But for that phrase to mean anything, you, the employee, have to fill in the gap. You have to use your knowledge of business culture to know that right-sizing actually means layoffs.
So the speaker's relying on you to fill in that blank. They don't have to say the hard part out loud.
Exactly. And you, by understanding it, are participating in that kind of obfuscation.
Wow. Okay, so if we're constantly filling in gaps, the next logical question is, how do people design their language to control what we fill in?
Now you're getting to the really interesting stuff.
This is Unit 2. Language isn't just saying, it's doing. Like a speech act, I promise or I resign.
Yeah.
But it goes down to the level of basic grammar.
And this is tool 8, grammar as choice. And this one is, it's a game changer. The structure of a sentence, who the subject is, whether you use active or passive voice, it is never, ever neutral.
It's a design choice.
It's a design choice that pushes a certain point of view.
Okay, the sources use a really pointed example to make this clear. It's a bit charged, but let's just focus on the linguistics of it. Same event, 2 headlines. Sentence 1, a white nationalist was bloodied Saturday while confronting protesters.
Okay.
Sentence 2, protesters bloodied a white nationalist while he was confronting them.
The difference is profound, and it's purely grammatical. In sentence 1, who's the subject of the sentence?
The white nationalist.
Right, so he's the topic. The thing that happened to him is the main point. It's foregrounded. What the protesters did is pushed into the background. It's in a less important clause, the one that starts with while.
So your focus is automatically on the person who was bloodied.
Exactly. But in sentence 2,
The protesters are the subject. Protesters bloodied. They're the ones doing the action.
their agency is foregrounded. They are the active agents. And you can take it even a step further. What if the sentence was just, a white nationalist was bloodied?
Passive voice.
Right. And what happens?
The person who did the bloodying is gone. They've vanished from the sentence.
They've been erased. It's a grammatical choice that removes the agent, which implies that maybe who did it isn't important. Or maybe the writer wants to hide who did it. The point is, controlling the grammar is controlling the audience's attention.
But couldn't that just be, for efficiency? To make a headline shorter?
It could be, but the consequence is the same. When you choose a subject, you are choosing what matters. In a situation involving violence, removing the agent is a massive choice. It changes the whole moral landscape of the event, whether you meant it to or not.
Okay, so grammar directs our focus. There's another tool that sort of flips this around. Tool 12, the context is reflexive.
Yes. This is a brilliant little mind bender. We think language just fits into a context that already exists.
Right.
This tool says that's backwards. Language creates the context.
How does that work?
Well, if we both agree to call this a committee meeting, those words themselves bring a reality into being.
Okay, yeah. Suddenly there are roles. There's a chair, there are members, there's an expectation of an agenda, of rules.
Exactly. The language doesn't just describe the meeting. It is the meeting. It's the blueprint. It's how we build institutions just out of words.
Which leads us to a really important question. What happens when we refuse that frame? When the context we're given is just too small?
That is the core of Tool 6, the frame problem. The frame is the context we use to make sense of something. And we have to constantly ask ourselves if we're using the right one or if it's too narrow.
The source material has this amazing historical example about tuberculosis.
It's a perfect illustration. For decades, the standard scientific frame was simple. Tuberculosis is a disease caused by a biological agent, the tubercle bacillus.
So biological cause, medical solution.
Right. Makes perfect sense. The cause is a germ, the solution is a drug or a vaccine. That's the frame.
But then a linguist, Robert Lewontin, he challenged that. He said the frame is way too narrow.
He pointed out that the disease didn't just appear randomly, it exploded in the 19th century, where, in sweatshops, among the poor, in crowded, filthy living conditions.
Conditions created by a specific economic system.
Exactly. Lewontin argued that if you broaden the frame from just medicine to politics and history, the cause isn't just the bacillus. The cause is unregulated industrial capitalism.
That changes everything.
It completely changes the solution. If the cause is a germ, you develop an antibiotic. If the cause is a social system, the solution is housing reform, workers' rights, economic change.
So even a scientific fact is presented inside a frame. And that frame can hide a much bigger picture.
And that's the key takeaway for you listening to this. Anytime you hear a statement of fact, you have to ask, what's the frame here? What context is being left out? Because changing the frame can change everything.
So let's try to bring this all together.
At the end of the day, what you've gained here is a kind of X-ray vision. You can see the hidden machinery. You can see how cultural knowledge gets packed into a single word.
Like drinking.
How you're being asked to fill in assumptions. How grammar is used as a political tool to direct your attention, and how the entire meaning of a problem can shift if you just challenge the frame.
So we've seen that language is never passive. It's always active. It's a tool for building our reality. By using this toolkit, you can move from just, hearing the words to actually deciphering the goals and the power dynamics behind them.
The choice is what you do with that awareness.
So here's a final thought for you to take away. Since language is always doing something, establishing some kind of norm, try applying the making strange tool to something really routine in your life. Maybe a weekly report at work, or even just the way people talk in a team meeting. What phrases, what structures are so normal that no one even notices them anymore? And what unexamined assumptions about success or hierarchy or responsibility are they hiding in plain sight? Go make the familiar strange.